what's up? This is Harry Wagner from Harry's Situations, and today I want to talk to you about how wheels are made. Now, you might have heard this expression, how the sausage is made, which refers to getting a glimpse behind the scenes to see how something comes to fruition. In this case, we're doing that with wheels, and not just any wheels. We're here at Battle-Born wheels, which are made maybe a little differently than others out there. There's some wheels that come from overseas. They take whatever aluminum, throw it in the casting, make a wheel that's pretty inexpensive, but also cheap, which aren't synonyms, right? Now that is not the case with our Battle-Born wheels here. So Chris is gonna tell us how he manages to make a wheel that is US made and really high quality, but still is cost competitive. So he's gonna share some of his secrets with us today on how he's able to achieve that. Chris, can you tell us the origin of Battle-Born wheels? How did this get started?
Yeah, so it basically kind of started out of a necessity. When I first started in the industry, I was just a consumer, right? I was into rock crawling, low budget, didn't have much money. So I saw a gap in the market for an affordable wheel. And then we brought in our steel beadlocks, our gatekeepers. That was about 10 years ago. So we just imported those. They're really cheap. I've sold them for like 150 bucks a wheel. And no one was doing that at the time. So we sold a lot of those gatekeeper wheels, honestly. But as I got more knowledgeable in this industry, because to be honest, when I first started, I didn't know anything about making a wheel, right? So I started learning what I wanted out of the wheel and what I wanted to accomplish with my vehicles. And that's all I really do now. I make stuff that I want, that I can't find, right? So I found a foundry in California that makes forged aluminum blanks. Now they're not cheap, but they're USA made, right? And the supply chain is really short. So we bring in the blanks from California and we mill them here on my Haas VF3 SS YTs. And we got a couple machines now. So it's just all made to order. They're pretty boutique wheels, very niche, but we can do a lot of pretty cool stuff with all the different offsets, fitments, and blanks that we run now.
And that's genius. So you start with a blank, you don't have to have a ton of things on the shelf because you're adding things like the bolt pattern and backspacing based on that order, right?
Yeah, and that's also kind of part of the origin story, right? I'm a small business. I'm just one guy. I have a full-time machinist that works with me as well. So it's a small company, and in the wheel industry, we're really small, right? Our next biggest competitor is like doing 60 million a year at least, right? So I didn't have the pockets to bring in $2 million of inventory, right? Sure. So I was like, well, you know what? I can find blanks and I can learn the machine. So I went to college at Western Nevada Community College and took some machining courses and self-taught myself the rest and started cutting my own wheels. Really, I landed the CNC without knowing what a CNC was. You know, it was a big gamble, big risk, but it's been paying off, so.
What is the turnaround time? If I call and order a set of wheels, is it gonna take 6 months to get them?
When we have the blanks on the shelves, we can turn them around in 1 to 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
In just a raw machine. We also offer powder coating finishes, which add about a week, but sure. We get all that done here locally, so we're pretty fast. And
you said locally. We're here in Carson City, Nevada. So Nevada, the Battle-Born state, Battle-Born wheels. Are you from this area originally? What is your background? You mentioned that you were a recreational rock crawler, but even before that.
Yeah, so moved here when I was 12. Been here ever since. I'm almost 40 now, so I'm pretty much a Nevadan at this point, right? So Rubicon Trail, real close, right? There's a ton of wheeling in Nevada. It's all BLM, 5 miles any direction you can go. So me and my buddies, we always just went wheeling. We had Jeeps. I've had Jeeps since I could drive. So I've had a lot of Jeeps, a lot of rock crawlers, got all the way to the end of rear steer buggies and doing that whole stuff. And you know, now I got a built Gladiator that's working really well for me, but I just like off-road.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, you mentioned that these come from San Diego, they're made in America.
It was real important to me to have a small supply chain. Can't get any shorter than this. I mean, it's the next state over. They're actually made in Oxnard at AST down there. That they work with us on these blanks. So, and they'll design them to our proprietary profiles that we send them, you know, so.
And can you tell us a little bit about wheel construction in terms of there's different types of casting. Can you explain that process to us?
So aluminum gets kind of, there's a couple different varieties of aluminum you can get, right? So casting aluminum is made like a A356 type of aluminum, and you can either gravity feed it, which is where they pour the aluminum into a mold. That's probably the worst case. You get a lot of porosity, air pockets, stuff like that. It weakens the wheel, the integrity of the wheel, but they're cheap. They can make 1 billion of them, fast. You get counter pressure casting, where they force the aluminum into the mold. That helps with the strength of the porosity and the pocketing, right? And then you could do flow forming, which is what we use for our cast wheel. That we do import our cast wheel because we can't get castings done here in this country, unfortunately. So our casted wheel is a flow form construction. It's very similar to forging, just a little bit more cost effective, right? Because it's more of a volume game that they play, right? They make the mold, they fill it with aluminum, and then they spin forge it down a barrel of like another mold, right? So it helps create a straight grain structure with the aluminum, which they can make it a little lighter and stronger in the same mold there. Casting is volume, right? So if you're going to cast wheels, you have to do it in volume. It's a big money game. Forged wheels are more boutique. There's less market there, but it's also a high performance product, right? So this is the best of the best that you can get. A non-beadlock is naturally going to be lighter. It has less components. You don't have the ring, you don't have the hardware. This outer lip is a lot thinner, just a lot less material all the way around. Those kind of come in around mid to high 20 pounds for like a 17. The beadlocks start jumping up into like the mid 30s. Some companies are even in the 40s. Now, a forge wheel can be lighter.
Okay, can be. But isn't always.
But what that allows us is to make a thicker barrel. So the thickness is thicker out here. The lips are thicker. Just everything's much beefier. The center section's beefier in the forge wheel. And it actually kind of comes out to the same weight as our cast beadlock, but this thing is way stronger. Like we warranty almost no forge wheels because like no one breaks them. Yeah. So and we race on them too, right? So it's race technology on your Jeep.
Okay. Yeah, and you have people using these in Ultra 4 racing, in competitive rock crawling.
Correct, yeah. So we have a couple drivers that we sponsor in Ultra 4. Obviously, Randy Slauson, who just won 26, King of the Hammers. We have Tom Ways, he's been with us for a couple years. He always checkers our records with that guy, And then Dave Wong helped us develop this 20 to his specs that he wanted. A narrow 20-inch crawler wheel for the portal rear steer guys, and he won all his best in class for We Rock.
So how do you tell the difference? Is there a way visually to tell the difference between a cast and a forged wheel?
Definitely when it's in a raw machine finish, you can visually tell. The forged wheels are much brighter aluminum, whereas a cast wheel will look a little dull. And then with inside the spokes, since this is all a machine surface, it's super bright and flat. When they cast a wheel, they'll cast the spokes into it, and it's kind of that rough casting texture. That's the easiest way to tell. Once they're powder coated, it's real tough to tell once they're painted.
So we've shot a couple of videos with other folks that are using Battleborn wheels. Nick from Martech, we did a video with him. Grant from CNA, we did a video on his Chevy and on his Jeepster. Who are you usually getting calls from? Who's your typical customer?
Yeah, so obviously we're really into the high-end niche portal buggy guys, right? We service that because that's what I like to do as well. But also we get a lot of like Jeeps, like JLs, Gladiators, guys putting 1-ton axles under their Gladiators and Jeeps where you need to switch to 8-lug. When you're going that far to swapping out your axles like that, it's like, that's not the place to really cheap out on a wheel, right? Some of these axle swaps are 20, 30 grand, right? So it's like, hey, buy once, cry once. This is the last thing you'll need for your Jeep, I promise. And if you break this forged wheel, I'll help you out on it. But and I'll want to see pictures because that'd We don't get many of them. I know with these axles, they're all wider, right? And you can't run factory wheels on these new aftermarket axles or aftermarket suspension, right? You always got to swap the wheels. So planning your build with everything, with all the aftermarket parts combined is key when you're starting a build. Like, you don't want to just start buying things randomly. You want to make sure each aftermarket part is working with the other aftermarket parts, because that becomes a problem quick, right?
Oh yeah, right. If you don't look at the big picture, and yeah, now you're buying twice and crying twice.
Right. Planning all that out from the get-go is real important, and you can always call us, and I'll help walk you through your build too.
That's great.
I know a lot about the Jeep stuff, so.
And then I noticed on your Jeep, you're running 40-inch Nitto trail grapplers. So this video is actually brought to you by Nitto. If you like what we're doing here, please like this video, subscribe to the Driving Line channel. You mentioned you just drove 2,000 miles round trip to and from Moab. So did this sit in a booth when you were out in Moab?
No, absolutely not. We ran trails the whole time out there. You know, I drove it around town, and the Nittos did great. They balance out perfectly, 80 miles an hour. No big deal. With beadlocks, 40s, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, all the way there. So I absolutely love these tires. They're tough. They're tough as nails, right? That's why they're so popular on these builds, right? There's nothing that I see that really compares to it. The other thing I love about the Nitto tires is they just fit our wheels really well. Like our our bead register on the beadlock, everything fits perfectly. The bead bundle thickness is perfect for our rings, you know. And I kind of developed it around a Nitto.
Okay.
When I first was drawing the wheel out, I ordered a 40-inch Nitto and measured everything off of it and kind of used it as my my baseline. There's no industry standard for how thick the bead bundles should be, and you're talking rubber. There's not much tolerance there.
Sure.
I'm assuming at the rubber factory, right? It's probably pretty hard to nail those numbers. You know, it's like what we can do with this CNC machine. We can hit like 3 thou tolerance easy. I mean, you can barely see 3 thou, right? So there's no standard of how big this should be. So we kind of just made our clamping surface to match that Nitto tire. And they've been very consistent. Don't really see too much smaller beads, but definitely see really thick tire beads. And so what we recommend, if your tire is over 3/4 of an inch thick on that bead bundle, we start recommending a beadlock ring spacer. And that just brings it out about 3/16 of an inch to compensate for that thickness.
When I've seen hardware failures, it's always been someone that says, oh, I torqued all of these to spec, but there's still a gap. Anytime there's a gap, it seems like now everything is riding on that hardware, and it's just you're asking more of it. It's not just a clamping load now, right? It has to to withstand different factors.
Yeah, so when we're guiding people on installation, my biggest thing is get the ring touching metal. You know, so if this isn't sucked all the way down, you're not torquing yet because you're not there yet. So you need to get the ring mated to the wheel and then go in your torque sequence. Now, if you can't get the ring mated to the wheel, that's your first issue, right? You need to space it out. So, and then the other thing we do to compensate for this stuff is our bolts are thicker. So we use 3/8 bolts, whereas a lot of companies use 5/16 or metric 8, something like that, you know. The 3/8 is nice and thick, and the way we tap our wheels with the machine, we roll the tap into the aluminum, so it's not cutting, it's forming the thread, just makes it very strong. And that with the grade 8 3/8 hardware, we're able to just put way more torque on the bolt, right? So we recommend about 25 foot-pounds of torque, but honestly, I've sent it to like 70 foot-pounds before it started breaking stuff, you know?
Holy cow.
So way over double, you know? When you don't have the ring mated flush, like you're talking about, you're getting a lot of shearing, like shearing motion. It could shear bolt heads off. It could cone the beadlock ring, and you'll see that, like it'll start to cone inwards.
Right.
That's just from improper installation.
Okay. Yeah, and I know Ali Mansour does videos for the Driving Line channel as well. He just installed some of your beadlocks on his own Gladiator, and he went into a lot of detail. If you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend it. Once you're done watching this one. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you would recommend in terms of offset or backspacing, how those things differ, or what sort of factors impact what you want in terms of backspacing?
Sure, yeah. Like you said, small shop, so when you call, I'm the one that answers the phone. I'm also the owner, so the sales guy. I'll be the janitor later if we got to get that bathroom cleaned. But yeah, so when people call up, I usually just like, people are like, I want to order wheels. I'm like, okay, well, what are you working on, first of all? Okay, I got a Gladiator. I'm trying to put 1 tons under it. Okay, totally shift the conversation, because a stock Gladiator wheel versus a built Gladiator wheel is an entirely different wheel blank. It's an entirely different process, all that good stuff, right? So I ask people, what size tires are you running? That's for what size tires do you want to run? You know, it's like, oh, I want to get on 40s. I want to run these axles. Okay, it's suspension. What are you doing? Steering. What are you thinking? You know, and I'll just go through all those details with people, because it's confusing.
Oh yeah.
Offset and backspace, dude, it took me like 5 years to wrap my head around the difference between offset and backspace. Even if you tried to have me explain it to you right now, it would be a long-winded answer, but maybe. But yeah, I don't mind sitting with somebody on the phone for 20 minutes, you know, and really talking trucks and making sure I know what you want to do with the truck and we can accomplish that goal together.
People can still order online, is that true?
Yeah, definitely. You could, if you know what you want, just go straight to the website and order what you see there. But
it sounds like it'd be worthwhile to make a call though, just to confirm. I always appreciate it when companies ask for information or help me get not just what I think I want, but what I actually need.
yeah, and that's the thing, right? We're in this Amazon era of just one click buy, and that's not always the right thing, especially with this stuff. Now, I don't ever really order anything online for stuff. I always call, because you never know. They could have a new product coming out that might work better for you.
Sure.
You know, they could recommend something else completely that you didn't think about, something that some blind spot that you're not seeing. So it's always worth talking to a sales rep and just getting somebody on the phone and here, because the most current information might not be on the website either.
Sure.
You know.
So what model of wheel is this?
This is a 20 by 8.5. This is our CrawlSpec wheel that we sell to like our portal guys.
But starting with a blank shell, you can basically make aesthetically whatever people want in terms of spokes and stuff like that.
Right. So this is how the wheel shows up from the foundry. It's all lathe turned to our profile. We spec it out just how we want it with the width and the size and some added features that we could talk about later. But so it shows up like this, an order comes in. We cut the spokes, we cut the bolt pattern, the center bore, we modify, and we drill and tap all of our Beadlock hardware. We put knurling into our Beadlock ring seat right there, and cut our valve stems, and cut back pads, offsets, however we need to adjust that. So they're really made to order. So yeah, like I said, 1 to 2 weeks, we could bust them out though pretty fast.
It's great that you can do that all in-house, make them exactly to what people want, machine off as much if they want out to here to, if they want more backspacing, or just leave it if they want less backspacing.
And we are working within the limits of our blank, right? And we're constantly bringing in more and more blanks to cover a variety of fitments that we're missing, you know? So like I said, always call and be like, hey, you know, next month I'm going to have my new blanks that'll actually work better, you know, for your application.
Okay.
Yeah, so this particular blank here, like I said, this is kind of meant for our portal buggy guys. It starts at a 5-inch backspace.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've talked about backspace before on this channel, but how you measure it is from the wheel mount surface back here to this outer lip. And so this distance to this distance is 5 inches on that blank.
Okay.
So, and now when you're converting to offset, it comes out to about a +6 offset. People get kind of hung up on like, I need a +25 or I need this -10 or something, because they just hear people talk about offsets.
But isn't an offset too, right? You need to know the width of the wheel, right? Unlike backspacing. So if you say, I need a +25, is that an 8.5-inch wide wheel? Is it at a 10-inch wide wheel? Because it's going to change where the wheel sits, right? Based on that
100%, 100%. And that's why I talk about offset as a secondary measurement, because backspace is easily measured. You can measure it at home. I can't measure an offset.
Yeah, I don't know where the center is necessarily.
It's something you visually see in a drawing, in a 2D drawing or a 3D CAD file, right? But people, like I said, people get hung up on that offset like they need that exact one, but it's really, you need to know like what size wheel you want to be. I want to be a 17, I want to be 9 wide, I want to be 8.5 wide, you know, and then we'll dial in your fitment for backspace offset from there.
And do you only offer beadlock wheels?
No, we do a lot of beadlocks. That's primarily what we do. But we also run our wheels as a dual option setup, essentially. So you can also run the tire bead on the inside of this lip and run it as a standard DOT style wheel. And then we sell a simulated ring that just kind of fills up that gap.
So what do you do for bead retention on a non-beadlock wheel, or say the inner bead, even on a beadlock?
So we do our HoldFast design on all of our inner beads now. So it's just basically like a really aggressive safety hump right here. And you know, I've had buddies run the Rubicon on that style wheel, like 15 PSI, no issues all weekend. You know, so that does help a lot if you're trying to stay away from a beadlock for maybe weight or just what you're doing. Getting those HoldFast or any kind of safety bead tire retention, it does work. It's not going to perform as much as a beadlock would. Like beadlocks can go single digit PSI. Sure. You could drive the tire flat home if you needed to get off the trail, back to the trailer, whatever. But it is an option.
Well, and I know like in Ollie's video, one of the things he mentioned too is just at those low air pressures, a tire, like the wheel can turn within the tire. Now all of a sudden you're out of balance when you're on that drive home from Moab, where when the tire's physically clamped to the wheel, it's not going to change position relative to the wheel.
No, the tire ain't going anywhere. And that's part of the benefits of the beadlock. It's that bead bundle is going to stay there even if the tire shreds. Worst case scenario, I'll still see the tire bead bundle just stuck in the beadlock on race cars and stuff like that, you know.
Right. So I talk a lot in these videos about load ratings of tires, but I don't talk as much about load ratings of wheels. Can you tell us how wheels are rated or what your wheels are rated at?
Yeah, so typically anything we do in an 8-lug, our minimum load rating is 4,000 pounds, and that's advertised load rating. So when you're advertising a load rating, typically the wheel will withstand much more than that, but we want to be safe, right? So what I recommend to people, I mean, the tire that you're looking at is going to have a load rating on it, right? I try to shoot the wheel over the load rating of the tire. You don't want to be under the load rating of the tire, right? So that's the biggest thing with load rating. And then now when you're talking HD wheels, 4,000 pounds, that's more aluminum, right? So the wheel will be a little heavier.
Okay.
But just trying to save 1 to 2 pounds at a corner is not where you should try to skimp on weight, right? Put less stuff in your vehicle if you're that worried about weight. It's like the rolling stock of your vehicle, you don't want to fail.
That's it for this video. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about Wheels Are Made. I know I did. A big thanks to Chris and the Battleborn Wheels for being with us today and sharing all this information. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below and let us know what your dream Battleborn beadlock is. Thank you for watching this Hairy Situations video on the Driving Line channel. Driving Line has all sorts of great content creators and they're dropping new content almost daily. You're definitely going to want to subscribe so you don't miss any of it in the future. And we'll see you out on the trail.